I would say success would be if people automatically go to the centers as a resource and recognize the centers as a resource and say, I need this information, either they have it or they can get it for me. I would think that they would be acknowledged as the industry resource in transportation.
I think, I heard the phrase earlier, one-stop shop, and I think, again, and it goes to the previous point of just, this being a go-to place for, it doesn't mean these centers need to crank out new training programs that need to be developed over the next decade. It's being a resource to point people in the right direction to a university or a technical high school or a union apprenticeship program or some sort of open shop program or a driver's program, et cetera. I mean, the amount of time, if it could serve that function on any level, the amount of time that would be saved in organizations, companies, industries, reinventing the wheel, developing training programs that have already been developed 5 times over, I think would be huge. So it's just, that'll take time. That's not going to be year one for these centers, but that would be success in my view.
So I think the only thing standing between the centers and success is funding. And so I think that one of the ways that the centers could address that is to partner with organizations such as Women in Trucking, such as other associations who have the opportunity to get funders. And those
What did you say?
who partner with those corporations. And seriously, when we present as a 501c6 or a 501c3 to corporations, and we have a good case for support, we get it. And I think one of the things that the centers have that some of the associations don't have is the funding to get some of this started, to get some legs on some really good ideas, and then to find other associations to collaborate with. I think that would look like success.
So for those of you that want to become a CEO of an organization, take note of Marcia here, because she's got that down great. So what I'd say, and I'm going to just go back to look at sort of the introductory comments from the individual networks, or the what do we call them?
The regional centers.
Regional centers. And as they were going through kind of their individual purposes, they were talking about connections and access that I think they already have, or they're developing, to populations that at least I don't, and that maybe many of our professional, my professional circles don't have immediate access to. We have pretty decent connections to the universities themselves, but not necessarily to the disadvantaged youth side, not necessarily to those that have non-native English speaking folks, and there are a range in there that were discussed. So I'd like to see, from my perspective, success is when these regional centers are acting as a bridge, connecting us, so there's that link and connection between the people, the consulting firms, the public agencies and such that are the employment opportunities for these folks, and bringing those people in, getting them interested, and giving us that opportunity to build their interest and to cement it with real-world experiences and job opportunities.
Don't reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of people who will work with the centers to try to help them complete their mission, because it's mutually beneficial to what folks like us here are trying to accomplish as well. And collaboration, it's hard. I do a lot of public speaking. I have a slide that talks about collaboration. Why is it so hard? And one of the definitions is to cooperate with an enemy that has invaded your country. And we're not starting from a position of strength. We're not wired that way, But it's hard, and you got to get the right people in a room. What's the common goal and common objective? What do you have that I have? What do I have that we can put together and just be that much more powerful to our common customer, and develop some common goals and objectives? These centers are in places where we know we have, many of us, contacts and people in industry. We can connect with them. What is it we're trying to accomplish? What content do we need in terms of education and enlightenment for those who have yet to be bestowed upon them the understanding that this is important? And let's work together to do it and not try to recreate something that's already out there.
Okay, thank you. Any other closing thoughts before we turn it over to the feed you to the wolves here? All right, so
Teresa,
you do, go ahead.
Well, one of the
Ellen.
questions that you had given us in advance, I was really excited, and you didn't ask it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I covered everything. Go
No,
ahead. Okay.
and I think more from the construction side and the trucking side, but the question was, do you find there are technical skills or gaps in job candidates? Why do you think those gaps occur? And we touched on it a little bit about skills. We don't push our children into careers that are skills-based. And I realize I'm at Transportation Research Board, so you guys are all education people and academics and stuff, but there's a huge push to send kids through college, and we don't say, hey, you know what, you can be an electrician, you can be, my son's an electrician, makes a really good living. Hey, Mom, I'm working Christmas triple time, you know. And my son-in-law is a welder, and they both have really great careers, and they love what they do. And we just don't push those skills to kids who may not have the aptitude to go to college, or may not want to go to college, or may not have the parents or the financial assistance to go to college. So how do we get, and this would be a challenge for the workforce development centers, how do we get schools, parents, society as a whole to start valuing the trades? Because you can't outsource those, you can't outsource driving a truck, you can't outsource an electrician, you can't outsource those jobs. So how do we get society to start valuing the trades, the skills?